everybody. Hi, Sue Ricks here on a Sunday afternoon. I just thought that I would pop on, and I just had this urge to talk a little bit about what I've been doing with virtual reflexology in case it's something that interests you. This is a subject that has become very dear to my heart, and I think for some people this might be very dear to your heart too, because while we've been in this very strange COVID crisis, we've been in a situation where we've got all this amazing knowledge, we've got this passion for reflexology, and nowhere to be able to pass that forward and to pass that out. And I just decided to come on and talk to you about virtual reflexology because I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I know it's not right for some people, but it's absolutely right for me. And I think it might be right for some of you too. So what I wanted to do was to be able to talk to you about what reflexology, what we can do with reflexology and how we might be able to take that out in a sort of virtual world. Because, we all love to be able to be out there working with people and touching and making all those differences. But if we can't be there and if we can't be touching people, what can we do? So you'll see I've got my little friend here who will become important to what we're talking about in terms of doing it in a virtual way. So, oh, that was a little noise there. I don't know what that was then. Let me just check and see if that's something that I needed to be able to be doing anything with. Now I'm going to put that down there. So I wanted to be able to just check in with you about this virtual thing. And I started doing something which really and truly made such a difference to me, because I've got relatives who live on a different continent, and I heard that unfortunately many weeks ago, right at the very beginning of this, that they were unfortunately caught by the virus. Husband and wife caught by the virus, very, very extremely affected by it. The good news is they are starting to recover. But I was thinking, well, what can I do? What difference can I make? I felt so far away. And I was talking to family members who were trying everything that they could to take care of them. And I'm on a different continent. So I'm thinking, what can I do? So it occurred to me that maybe I could do something with virtual reflexology. And there's probably people that you know of, like your clients or your family or your friends, and you're thinking, oh, if only reflexology was available to them. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is something that you can get involved in, and recognise that this is perfectly for some people. I've loved it, and the results that I've had have been amazing. But I've also found that there are some people that this just isn't okay for. So if it's not okay, it's not okay. But if it is okay for you, then it is, and it's brilliant. So I want to also say that this takes me back, just to let you know a little bit about why I'm so passionate about what this is. And this has come out of the blue for me. I wasn't expecting this. But when I first came into reflexology, I came into it from a sideways route, which is the world of healing. And with the world of healing and starting to do distance healing, I realised that that was something that was really possible. And my first experience of that was working with my mum. And my mum's no longer here on the earthly plane. But when she was here on the earthly plane, I had an opportunity to do some work with her, and that just blew me away. And so I feel almost as if I'm round and back again to finding out, different ways that I could use this to be able to do distance virtual reflexology. So I can see that June says, I love the idea of virtual reflexology, and I've done 2 treatments and I can't wait to do more. Well, that's exactly what we want, June. Absolutely. We want people to be out there and doing it. So if you've got questions, pop the questions up, and I'll do, I'll see what I can do to answer them. And I know that some people want to know, the whats and the wheres and the hows, and how do you do it? Well, the first thing I'm going to say is I don't know. I don't even know what to say to you about all the things that might be possible, because there's lots of different ways. What I'm going to share with you is this is what I do, and this is how I found it to be really effective. So when you are doing your own reflexology, you're working with somebody in your clinic room, I've got a lovely clinic room. I love my clinic room, and my clients know my clinic room. They know where it is. So I made arrangements to. So the first thing I did was I did this with our relatives who are on the other continent, and I would just imagine standing at the end of their hospital beds, asking permissions if it would be okay to be able to work with them, because I believe it's really important to ask permission. So I was imagining, so sometimes you'll see me close my eyes because I actually have to close my eyes to do this. So I closed my eyes and imagine asking the consultants if it was okay if I could do some reflexology, and then doing some reflexology at the end of the bed. And really, and I do get these feelings. I get these things. They feel like real connections. It feels real to me. And I was following my inner guidances about what to do. And you'll have your own ways if you're into this. And as I was finishing off the treatments, I'd get a real sense of, knowing that it, to me, as if absolutely something happened, as if it was making a difference. So I'm not there with the person. I don't have pictures. Sarah on Instagram asked if I work with pictures with people. I don't work with pictures. So do you have a picture of the person's foot but you see what's going on? And also, do you touch base with them and let them know anything that you've noticed after? So that's a couple of questions. So the first question, let's just take it. I don't have pictures, but what I decided to do was connect in with my clients and say to them, I can't see you, you can't come to my clinic room, but would you like a complimentary, in other words, a free session with me? And when I would ring them up at the appointed time, so maybe it was let's say 11 o'clock, and I would ring them at 11 o'clock and say, right, so I'm now sitting in my clinic room, I'm sitting on my chair, I'm sitting exactly where you know I am, you can visualize where I am, you can visualize where you would be in the chair. I want you to be hopefully somewhere we've already arranged before, that you're sitting somewhere comfortable and relaxed, and maybe somewhere where you've got your feet up, so you may be on the bed or on your settee or your sofa, somewhere where you're comfortable. And then I want you just to imagine that I am doing this session that I am going to be doing. So I am literally moving my thumbs in the air. And some of you will have seen I did some filming for the Surix Academy and will have seen a little bit of an example of that. And I'll show you a little bit of an example of that later on. And what I wanted to really express to you is that I don't think there are any shoulds to this. So you need to do it the way you do. But one of my thoughts about are you doing it for, I was thinking about this earlier on. I was like, how am I going to answer this? And I thought probably what I wanted to say is, are you doing this for them or are you doing it for you? And are you looking for evidence? So if you're saying I need photographs before and afterwards, who do you need those photographs for? It's brilliant if you want that to prove to the person it's making a difference, that's great. But in my experience, my clients are going, oh, that was amazing. And some of you may or may not have seen, I posted a picture of some flowers which I got. I posted that onto my profile. And some flowers, and I was opening a box and the flowers came. That was to one of my clients who I'd done a virtual session for. I don't think anybody would have sent me flowers if they didn't think that it had been super effective. So, I mean, it was a real surprise. So, right, let's just have a look at here. Hi, Sue, I tried 5 to 10 minutes of it, and oh my golly, I couldn't believe the results. However, wasn't sure what to do, how to do it, so I just winged it. Do you know what? Winging it is absolutely the way to go. And we don't know. Unfortunately, there are no regulations around it. In my experiences, do it, give it a go, and it is quite incredible. And I thought it might be a good idea to talk about some of the ways you can do it. And Beryl, thank you, Beryl. Thank you very much for being in touch. She said that she's used to doing distance Reiki. Now, this is not Reiki. This is distance reflexology. This is virtual reflexology. So you don't need to know how to do Reiki. And, you know, some people get all these blocks of, oh, I don't know how to do healing and I don't know how to Reiki. If you've done any work with me at all, there's a phrase which is energy follows thought. Yeah. So if we're thinking about our client, we are connecting with our client. So being used to doing distance Reiki, I guess it's no different doing reflexology. I do have some interested clients. Can you see me using my finger? I have to just read it on the screen. So Beryl, absolutely. If you know how to do distance Reiki, crack on with it. But anybody else who's watching this who doesn't know how to do distance Reiki, literally just for me, I have to, let me just talk about some of the practicalities. I have to steady myself. I have to be in my place where I'm normally working, in my clinic room. I have to get in and down. All those of you who are on the Surix Academy will know what I mean by the in and down. If you're not on the Surix Academy and you want to go on to the Academy, the half price offer is spring. Surix.com/academy, but get in and get down. Use all the skills and the techniques that you've already got to get yourself really connected in, so that you can then start to think about what I call going out to the person and think about that person and just imagine working with them. I have to close my eyes. Right, so I close my eyes while I'm doing it, and I'm literally imagining that I'm working on their toe or whatever it is that I'm doing. So I'm very, very lucky to be supported by the amazing guys from Light Up Creative, and they're helping me to do this. And I'm going to ask them now if they can play a bit of the video of me doing gentle touch reflexology on the big toe, so that you can see what I would be doing, because you may know gentle touch reflexology, you may not know gentle touch reflexology, but if you can watch a little bit of the video where I'm doing gentle touch reflexology and then be able to see what it is that I'm doing, and to be able to see that this is what the client would be experiencing. So here I'm just working very, very lightly. And if you're not used to gentle touch reflexology, even on this video, it looks a lot lighter, a lot heavier than it actually is. Gentle touch is really, really gentle. This is footage, by the way, from the Gentle Touch DVD 1, which you can get as a DVD and online, and it's also in the Academy. So can you see it's a light touch? So my clients are very used to that, very, very light touch. So as I'm working across their toe, they would know that's what that feels like. So if we then imagine what that would be like to doing it virtually, then virtually it would be me moving across with my thumbs very lightly, and they would have to imagine that that is what I'm actually doing. So there I am, absolutely just gently working across their toe. Right. And it's exactly the same movement. Now I would have my eyes shut, unless I've decided that I'm going to do this over WhatsApp. So I do set up a tripod in my clinic room, and when the tripod is up, I prop my camera up on the tripod. There you go, you can see my tripod set up. So there's my chair, and I put my camera in that. You can buy those online, you can buy those little mobile phone grips, just put it into a regular tripod, and if I'm talking to my client, I will ask them just to, you know, we'll have our general chat like you would do in a normal session, and our clients so value that. Part of the benefit they get is talking to us, so that you can have a bit of a chat, and then they can actually then see you sitting on your chair, and the camera is at a position where it's like their eye line, right? And then you'll do that work across, right? And whatever it is that your technique is, I'm not saying you have to do gentle touch reflexology. That's what I do. I practice and teach that because that's what I love. Ideal for all ages, it's perfect, but do whatever you're doing. So let's just have a look at this question that's coming in. Would you be willing to do this with another reflexology and try this? Do this with anybody. you know, with your family, with your friends, if you're wanting to be able to do some cosseting for your mum or your dad or your children or anybody distance, then do this for literally anybody, right? So I do find it easier with my eyes shut, because when I imagine that I'm doing this work, or maybe I'm holding their foot and I'm going around the base of their neck. So I would be just literally just going around the base of the neck. So as on this is my chart here. Yeah, so if I'm just going around the base of the neck here, so just going and imagining I'm just going around the base of their neck, it's, to me, it's like absolutely real, as if I'm really doing it. I can feel it. And I mean, a lady on Friday, it was brilliant. So every time I get to go over her big toe and I get to the pituitary, right, every time I get to the pituitary, every single time, she's been a client of mine now, coming for, I can't think how many years. She comes every 3 months. No, probably about 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks she comes. And every time I get to her pituitary reflex, her tummy gurgles. Well, those of you who know about this, tummy gurgles and chi movement is marvellous. So I'm energetically, you know, with my eyes shut, working over a big toe, and I get to her pituitary and I just hover for a moment. And then she's on the phone, because I've got the phone propped up at the side of me, and we're not talking to each other. And she went, "Oh, my tummy's grumbling again." How real can that be? So it's absolutely the best thing ever. So, oh, Rosanna, hi Rosanna, this is fascinating. I'm going to ask a reflexologist friend, and we could swap treatments to start with. Absolutely, do that, Rosanna. You'll love it. Absolutely love it. If, like me, I'm not as public as people think I am. I'm a bit cautious. Can't even believe I'm doing this live. But thank you to my support team for helping me, because I know that this isn't something that some people are into and up for, but by golly, the people that it's right for, it's fantastic. Judy, I'm so interested to hear how you've been doing this. I've added a distance reflexology technique to my virtual energy balancing sessions with positive feedback. Well, Judy, that's music to my ears. I think it's great. So I can have my phone up on the tripod. I was telling you, you can get them online. It's easy peasy, right? And you can be on WhatsApp video. They can see you doing it, in which case I don't have my eyes shut all the time, but I might still do, because I might want to tune in and go, right, eyes shut, concentrate, tune in. And by tune in, I mean be so deeply inside me that I somehow or other have a knowing about something outside. I can't explain that. It's just how it works. Or I might have my phone propped up at the side of me, and I've phoned them and we're talking, and then we agree that we're both going to go quiet. I'm going to concentrate on doing the treatment exactly how they know that it is, so they know what it feels like, they know where I am, but I don't talk them through it. I did do it with one person who wanted me to talk them through it, and I started off by doing that, and then I asked them if they'd mind if I stopped doing that, and I explained to them a little bit at the time and a lot more at the end what I'll say to you now, which is oh, here we go, Lynn. Hello, Lynn. Do you tell your client what part of the foot you're working on? Exactly what I'm talking about now. I did start telling this person, this is what I'm doing, this is where I am. And then actually it just wasn't feeling right. And I'm a very sensory person. I have a feeling that happens when I do the reflexology, and it wasn't fully there. I was sort of in it. I'd sort of got it. It was sort of flowing, but it wasn't the full thing. So I asked my client if they'd mind if I stopped telling them what I was doing and where I was. And then I explained to them what I'll explain to you now, which is that it took me into my head to go, right, where am I on the chart? How do I say this? How do I describe this to the client in a meaningful way? Therefore, I wasn't in what I call my flow. And gentle touch reflexology for me is all about flow. If I've got no flow, I've got no gentle touch reflexology. So and any of you who know gentle touch reflexology, you'll see it's about flow, 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 flow. It's so flowing. It's not this, 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 this. It's absolutely not. It's about flow. So I don't explain it, and I have told my clients afterwards, would it be okay with you if, we chat, we talk to you, and if there's anything in particular you want to ask me, or if you want me to alert you when I'm in a particular area, then I'll happily do that. But I'd really rather not go through the whole thing, because I have to go in a different place in my mind to be able to do that. And I want to be able to give you the normal treatment that I do, where I concentrate on you, I concentrate on the reflexes, I concentrate on the sensations, I concentrate on the feedback, and that's the way I can do it. So Kit, hello Kit, lovely to speak to you in Canada. Do you keep your pricing the same? Well, all of my clients, when this COVID crisis, the coronavirus thing started, I wasn't doing any treatments at all. Then with my relatives, and I started doing sessions, and I worked with husband and wife alternate days, and I'm still doing that now. Fortunately, things are going good. So lots of love to you. And so then I contacted all my clients and asked them. I did expect some of them to be not receptive to this, because I thought they'd need to think, well, I need to be there. And then I thought, well, I just hope they take it up on it, because I have a feeling that this is going to work. But I decided to offer them complimentary sessions, because then they've got nothing to lose. So I just gave them complimentary sessions, and I'm still doing that. I've just literally worked through all of the clients who wanted it. It's taken me a long time. So I've just completed on Friday the last client who said that they would like a complimentary. And a number of them have said, can we arrange another one? And what I've said to all of them is, could they wait until next week when I organise what I'm going to do? Because I just don't know what to do and how to put that forward yet. So in terms of pricing, I've no idea, because I haven't found that place in my head. I work from a knowing, Kit, do you know that? I don't have that knowing yet. So I think this has been very much about putting it into practice and seeing how it goes. So I can't answer that one, Kit, sorry. Do you send them a different type of consultation form and get a separate signature agreeing to the virtual reflexology? No, these are my existing clients. These are people I know well. These are people who I felt might be missing their reflexology. It's been a wonderful thing for all of us. I've loved connecting with them and feeling that that happens between us when they have their reflexology. So I've just literally carried on working with my existing clients, and offered them a freebie, and it's been massive. It's been incredible, the response that I've had back. It's been great. Do you have to notify your insurance company this is an element that will now be included in your practice? I've yet to decide how much this is going to be included in my practice. Something's going to be happening, I'm jolly sure. This has been very much of a sort of an experimental thing, as a complementary to my existing people. Would you like it? So I don't think I can even answer that one as well, Kit. So I'm really sorry, but I hope that you get a chance to give this a go and put this into practice, and then feedback to us, because we'd love your knowledge as well. So Sarah, I was worried about doing this. So much of what we do is intuitive, and I'm so inspired now. Right, Sarah. I don't think that we know what we know, but we know that there's something there. You've got nothing to lose, in my view, and everything to gain, because this is just a private conversation between you and a client, yeah, or a relative or a friend or your best mate, or maybe one of my clients is in a situation where her husband is working abroad, and he can't come home because he's in a closed country, and he can't come home. So she was talking about, could I do some reflexology for him? And I was saying, because she's one of my students from years ago, I said, you can do reflexology. Why wouldn't, would you like to do some reflexology? She's done that. And they've both been absolutely mesmerised by the whole thing, at the connection that it's made between the two. So It's just a fantastic thing to do, and if in doubt, give it a go. So Susie, just join this. Do you ask your client to sit showing you their feet? No. You could do. You absolutely could do. If that would be better for you, Susie, then definitely you could say to them, show me your feet and have a look at the feet. I have to honour me. You have to honour you. If that's what you need to do, then you can do that. There are no shoulds about this. If you want to see their feet, or they could send you a photograph of their feet or whatever. I personally don't find that I need to do that. I'm just happy to what I call tune in. If you need to do this, that's what you need to do. Yeah. So follow that. And that's what I'd say. If you find it difficult to work out how you're going to be able to, I've lost my cable now, I was catching myself on the cable then. If you want to be able to try, if you find it hard to visualize your client in your chair in front of you, you can do surrogate. So here's my little surrogate. Cute. See, look, he's got a little jacket. Isn't it cute? He's got a friend. He's his friend. Aren't they cute? These live in my living room. So you can do this if you want to. You can have a surrogate, and you could just pop this on a chair in front of you, and then you could start and work over. So maybe you want to do something that you know really easy, like the solar plexus. So maybe you just want to pop your hands on your teddy bears. So imagine that this is you if you're watching this. So imagine that this is you. Close your eyes. I have to do the tuning in bit. And then just use your thumbs. And then if you're on the receiving end of this, just sense this happening for you. So this is relaxing into your solar plexus. So if you're receiving this one now, hopefully you'll find that there's an element of calmness. And I'll do some more sessions on this later on. I just think that might be nice just to have a group session. So if you'd like to do that, let me know. Right, so you could use the little TED, right, and do that. So you might be wanting to do some reflexology, and maybe you might want to do down their spine. So in gentle touch reflexology, we just use our fingers, just really lightly go down. So you can imagine this is, Mr. T, and just working down, Mr. T's spine. Right, Lynn, here we go. Sorry, another question. Don't be sorry, that's what we're here for. Do you think this will work with someone who's never had reflexology with you, but is familiar with reflexology? To be honest, Lynn, I think this can work with anybody. I genuinely think it can work with anybody who's open to this. There are lots of people who are closed. I do know from having talked to other people that there's been a bit of a furore around different places about absolute rubbish. Reflexology has to be touch, and you have to do this and you have to do that. Absolutely, whatever anybody's belief system is whatever anybody's belief system is. But I genuinely think if they're up for it, you've, as I say, you've got absolutely. I need to put this down. I was going to have a bit. It was like cuddle time, wasn't it? Really. And it's about being there for people in the only way that you can. I don't think that this would have. Oh, Sarah, yes, please. Group session sounds great. Yeah, let's see if we can put that one together. If you fancy doing a bit of a group reflexology while I talk you through a session and you can receive it, then let me know if you're interested in doing that. So, if you know people who are open to reflexology, they're open to this, then give it a go. Renee, do you keep your virtual session the same as you would in an in-person session? Nearly. I have experimented with this over the last few weeks, and I found that half an hour is about the length of time that I can properly tune in. My attention, not yours, my attention can start to wander if it was getting to sort of 35-40 minutes. So I find that if I set it for half an hour, and then you might want a few minutes of chat afterwards, but half an hour just seems to work really well for me, you do what you're saying. So we will have a chat, because that's what I do with all of my clients. And then we will be able to have an opportunity to be able to discuss things at the very end. If they feel something, or, sometimes I hear them, their tummy's gurgling, as I would do in a regular session, then some of us might have a bit of a giggle or a bit of a laugh, because that's what happened on Friday, where the lady just cracked out laughing and went, "My tummy's gone again." And I'm like, well, I guess what? I'm on exactly your normal bit. There it goes. So, Karen, hi. Could I tune into the Reflexology using their original signature on the consultation form before starting? I wouldn't be in my usual place. Thank you, sending love. Now, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that, but well done for that, because if you are working in a place where you've been renting another space, you can't be there. So the essence is to tune into that person. So it could be with their consultation sheet. That would be wonderful. Yeah, because you remember when they were with you and all the information that you wrote down, and their signature, and having your hand on their signature might be a great way. Maybe you've got a photograph of them. Sometimes if you know your clients on Facebook, you can see their photos. Whatever works for you. You could say do it surrogate, you can do it photo. Just last week, I had the nice news that my relative, who was on a ventilator for 30-umpteen weeks, is now progressing well, which is lovely. And I had a photograph which was sent to me, and the person who sent it to me said, "I hope this will help with your distance work that you're doing." It was lovely to receive the photographs, and I've carried on doing the sessions in the same way that I was doing them before, without the photograph needing to be up, but the photograph's in my mind. So it is something which is useful. So you can do it with whatever helps you to connect with that person. So I leave it up to you, however you want to do that. So I thought that I might show you another little technique, which was how to do, because I think we're probably missing that whole huggable thing that we're missing out on. So if I show you how to do a technique, I'm going to get the guys to show you something called the Cuddle, which is on DVD too. It's also in the Academy. So there we go. So if you just get your hands, can you see just, I've got the side of my hand just going on the underneath of their toes. So you just pop your hand on the side, and then so on this, I'm on the left foot, and then put your right hand over the top, left hand underneath. And then an incy wincy, ever so careful, gentle hug. Can you imagine being on the receiving end of that? It is utterly, utterly delightful. And just that incredibly gentle roll, and that's right over all the feeling zones. Yeah, so it's right over all of the lung reflexes, and it just feels completely heavenly. So if I show you now how you might do that virtually, yeah. So you're just going to have your hand, this would be underneath the heel of their toes, and then over the top. So you imagine, for me it'd be eyes shut. So your hands on there, and then you just gently rotate and take it. I need to move my hands up a tiny bit so you can see. But really, so one hand is going in one direction and the other hand's going in the other direction. But it's a real cosseting. Can you imagine that your lung reflexes in there? It's beautiful. So if you've got anybody that you work with, so you're at home with, if you're with anybody else, then you could just practice that one. It's like a hug, and it's a virtual hug, and I use it in my virtual sessions. Susie, are you able to pick up any imbalances in your clients? Great question. What I find is that I really connect in with my inner sense of knowing. And sometimes as I'm going over a reflex area, so maybe I'm going over the bowel area or something, and I can feel something there, I'll pay some extra attention. What I'm very cautious of is saying negative things to people. So I probably wouldn't want to highlight and say, oh, I found an imbalance here, there, and everywhere, because energy follows thought then would be going down. And I don't particularly want to be doing it and going, oh, great, I found something that's wrong with you, right? And oh, yes, that correlates with something, because I'm not sure that's terribly helpful to the client. For me, it's really helpful when I go, oh, yeah, there's definitely something there. And it means that I can go back and pay attention. But also, because I'm also integrating all the energy and chakra things, it is a beautiful thing to be able to do, to focus it on again. Oh, lovely. So Rosanna's actually giving that a go now on your daughter's feed. Oh, that's going to be nice. Lucky daughter, because it is heaven to do that. So I hope that's answering a few of your questions. If you've got any more questions that you want to ask about this, I'm quite happy to arrange another session. And I'm also going to be doing a session on Thursday, which is going to be at 7 o'clock. And again on my Surix Facebook page live. And that one's, I'm going to be talking more about how to be connecting in with reflexology on the energetic perspective. So, about the energy and chakras and foot reading and reflex points. And all of that is appropriate for the virtual reflexology too, because it may be that you're sensing that people are picking things, you're sensing something in a particular area. And instead of going back to that reflex point time and time again, it may be that you could start to address some of the underlying issues by working, through foot reading or the energy and chakra locations as well. So that's going to be on Thursday, and we'll be working through some of those. So if you've got something that you want to ask about that, then feel free, and I'll be picking up the questions, because actually if you post the questions beforehand, it makes it a bit easier to try and make sure that I've got the information that I want to be able to do. So let's just recap a little bit about virtual reflexology. And this is just virtual reflexology from my perspective. It's not virtual reflexology per se. This is what I've done. This is how I'm doing it. This is how it's been working for me. So I'm doing complimentary sessions. I'm doing them about half an hour. The feedback has been astonishing. So one lady said that it made a really big, she comes on a regular basis because she has a problem with her pelvis. And she finds that the sessions makes a big difference to her, and she was gutted that she couldn't come. So, and she contacted me to say that made a really big difference. And that her pelvic problem was infinitely improved again. We have the ladies with the gurgles. One lady said she slept like a log. Yeah. One of the guys said that his mood had really picked up, and his original problem that he'd come for was much better. So give it a go. So maybe you need to work with the surrogate and actually pretend, and you're working over the different reflex points. Yeah. Or maybe you want to do like a heel hold, or maybe you want to do some bowel work or whatever. You can do that as a surrogate, doing that. Or you can set your camera up and actually talk to them, and they can see you moving your hands. Right. Or you just, like I do, have the phone at the side. I mean, some clients want WhatsApp, some people want the phone. And then they can talk at any time, but the phone line is open. Or you could agree a time with them, which is, I'm going to start your session at 7 o'clock at night or whatever, and it will be for half an hour. So at 7:30, I will telephone you. So I'd like you to be resting and just imagining me doing a treatment for you from 7 o'clock, and then please expect my call about 7:30. I'm only going to ring you to ask you if you've got any questions or anything, because personally I don't think it's healthy to be going to say, did it work? Because you're sort of implying it might not work. Right? Or if you're wanting some validation or whatever, but they may want to talk to you. They may want to give you feedback. They may want to say, well, I don't feel anything. Well, it gives them the chance to say that as well. Or they may go, as my clients have been doing, that was amazing. So I hope that you found this little bit of an introduction to virtual reflexology helpful. I am going to be live again, as I say, on Thursday. There's a whole stack of support stuff which is occurring, as you know, on the Academy, suericks.com/academy. And we do post on there every single week. Every single week we post new items. I've just been doing some EFT and some feng shui bits and pieces, which I hope will be fascinating. I'm actually loving doing them. They're really good fun. And then we're going to be introducing some lives on the Academy as well. So that will be a nice step forward. It's been something that's been very enjoyable to produce. So Wendy, sounds great. Hope to join you on Thursday. Found this fascinating. Thank you. That's a lovely picture, Wendy. Yeah, brilliant. So thank you, Wendy. Thank you to everybody who's been able to join us. Judy, sounds interesting. We'd love to learn that. We'd love to send my mum some energy in hospital. Judy, absolutely do it. Yeah, just connect in, think about your mum, settle yourself in, and then start your treatment. Absolutely, with love to your mum. So I'd like to say thank you so much to the guys from Light Up Creative who've been supporting me with all of this. I think they're quite incredible. And if there's any more questions, please feel free to pop up the questions. I will be taking more questions, as I say, on Thursday. And in the meantime, I'd like to say thank you so much for joining me. If you're also joining me at the Lex conference, I will see you there soon. So lots of love to everybody, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.